startup venture capital get together on the planet. And this comes from the very kind of huge, bold attitude that our students are having. And so they decided not to do what like everybody else.
Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the Actionable ESG Talk Series brought to you by AKFI, Actionable Knowledge Foundational Institute, the world's first non-profit industry association bridging the gap between ESG sustainability and digital transformation. My name is Isabella. I am the co-host of this talk series here with Manuel, another co-host, and also the executive director at the AKFI. And our special guest today, Anun. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
It's a great pleasure. And thanks to this talk series, we get to connect with great minds such as Anun and many others to together discuss the current and the future state of ESG, digital transformation, and sustainability. Anun is a distinguished legal expert and innovative leader in the sustainability sector with a career spanning over 15 years in high-profile roles. Her passion for mentorship led her to guide startups through programs like Helsinki Challenge. She is a recognized figure in the fintech industry, where she founded the Fintech Finland Association, fostering collaborations among startups and regulators. She has become a key player in Finland's blockchain initiatives, advising projects on regulatory compliance. And currently, Anun is the head of the spin-off asset management at Aalto University. Anun is dedicated to commercializing research-based innovation, focusing on sustainability, where Anun supports groundbreaking projects including AI-driven energy optimization and sustainable fertilizer production from wastewater. And a lot of things to discuss today. Very interested in the social impact part of everything around your work, Anun, at the college, at the university, with the students. Please share with us a little bit about your insights in the most promising projects in the science-based innovation space, more in the sustainability. And how do you see these projects shaping the future of environmental practices and policies?
Questions. Let me start by saying that I feel that the opportunity to work at Aalto University, bringing the most prominent research-based cases to help the society, is something that I'm thoroughly enjoying. And to your question, I believe that especially from Aalto University, we have a number of research-based innovations that we're working on currently. Some of you already mentioned briefly. So we early this year, we spun out a team that had been working with the wastewaters, reducing the phosphorus and nitrogen out of the wastewaters and turning them into fertilizers. So this type of sustainability research-based innovations, I'm really happy to bring over to help the society in getting less wastewaters and also helping on the other hand with the fertilizers. And the other project that you already mentioned, some of the other types of technologies that are being developed at Aalto University are AI generated kind of AI-powered energy optimization tools that are able to help and reduce the consumption of energy, not just reducing the cost of running different energy-based kind of gadgets, but also of course making it less energy kind of heavy industry. And so there is a number of these items that we're working and topics at Aalto University, and I guess my role is to help them to understand how to build a great startup out of these research ideas and make sure that they actually end up in benefiting the societies, and I guess saving the planet ultimately. I hope this answered your question a
Amazing.
bit.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Actually, what you're saying conjures the image of magic, right? Because if you talk sustainability these days and in the past, the first thing people would say it's expensive.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think you have a magic wand somewhere that makes it from expensive cheap. Actually, it makes it a business of sustainability as opposed to a desire, a goal. So, would you share a little bit more about the magic?
I would say that like Aalto University is committed to sustainability. So basically everything that we do under the research and educational topics, they somehow are connected to sustainability. We don't do anything else at Aalto University. So it's easy for me to kind of pick up sustainability or support sustainability innovations from our researchers, because obviously everything they do is somehow connected to that. But I think maybe before there has been an idea that sustainability is expensive. I think it's expensive not to drive forward sustainability kind of innovations, because if we can't afford to not do sustainability activities, because the planet is not bearing if we do not enhance our ways of doing business and enhance of doing sustainable solutions that are better for the planet than the current practices. So I think there is deep tech is currently a very huge buzzword, and everything, more or less everything we do and what comes out of Aalto University is somehow deep tech based startups. And the magic wand, I guess, the challenges that Isabel earlier asked also, I would relate to that as well. Typically, the startups are somehow SaaS-based, coded, quick API-based businesses, and whatever comes out of the university from tech and research, they are very much built on hardware. They are very investment heavy in the beginning before the technology is even developed to a stage that is typically VC fundable, and there I think the magic wand is heavily needed. So we are connecting a lot of international even investors, but also Finnish investors. We're supporting to build the teams in a right manner, so that they understand how to attract investors, how to build a sustainable proposal, also not just from research points of view, but also from financial point of view. So we do have incubators at Aalto University that we're using, and I think Isabel already referred to the student community. That is one of the magic kind of source elements that we have at Aalto University. We have an amazing student community who have built world-class startups, and even the biggest startup event globally called Slush, which takes place in November in Finland on a slushy season. So that's kind of the one part of the magic kind of components.
Well, the slushy season reminds me of rubber boots.
Oh yes, very much
More,
needed.
more than Tell us a little bit more about. You said it's the largest event, so how do you get so many people interested in funding in one space, in one conference space?
I think here the kind of here it backdates to early 2010, where Aalto University students, they decided to do something awesome. So they basically they decided to create a best startup venture capital get together on the planet, and this comes from the very kind of huge bold attitude that our students are having, and so they decided not to do what like everybody else and create this event when it's warm and sunny. No, they decided to do it when it's really pitch dark in Finland. It's rainy, it's slushy. It's the time when nobody in their right minds would come in Finland for any event. And they even came up a couple of years back with the slogan that nobody in their right minds would come to Finland in November except for you badass. And funnily enough, over more than 10 years, this whole concept that is still very much student driven. So there are always every 2 years the students are changed in who are leading Slush event. It's a multi-million kind of event currently. There is more money in the same place than anywhere else in startup events over the kind of global startup scene. And we believe at Aalto University that giving the freedom to our students to do what they want to try, what they want to create, has led to a couple of unicorns from our student community. It's amazing. So we feel that giving the power and the freedom for our students to test and fail, or test and rather succeed than fail, then eventually has really created amazing results.
That's fantastic, Anu. Sign me up, but I need a good pair of rubber boots because my Texan boots will not work in your Slush.
I would say that you would need some proper winter boots or rubber boots at that time. So
Do you have some numbers of how much money had been raised or how this operation works? If you do,
um,
if
I don't have the numbers for Slush, but like if I'm thinking of a couple of years back, 2022 in Finland, I think 1.8 billion euros was raised by startups. And over 55% of those had some kind of connection to Aalto University. Either they were our alumni students, they were our research-based spinouts, or they had some other connection to Aalto University. We have incubators and so on at Aalto University. So there was quite a few of those happening at that year, and so I'm quite proud to say that it's kind of an I would like to develop it even further, but we're on a good way to a global deep tech hub, I would say, at Aalto University.
oh, excellent. That's about probably $2 billion in today's money. So for our American audience, it's not small change. So and are these funds coming from VCs, from angels, investors, or there are governments, maybe the European community? Yeah, I'm obviously very interested in funding, right?
Yeah. Some of the kind of activities that took place during that year, there was an acquisition by DoorDash to a Finnish company called Volt. So that was driving quite a huge number out of that funding round. But we've had the pleasure of having a quantum computing center in Finland, where some of the, well, I think we're in the top three, if I'm not totally mistaken, in creating quantum computers. So we have some of those research-based companies that span out of Aalto as well, are doing quite well in that front, and they were also able to raise quite a large number of investments at that year. And then of course some of the things that have been spinning out of Aalto, they are also kind of space related, so satellites. We have quite a few satellite related companies that have been spinning out of Aalto. And funnily enough, even those, when they started, some of them were like student led ideas, they wanted to start to build a satellite, and their professor said, why not? And some years back, they built the first Aalto 1 satellite that actually crashed down this year. I think it was, I can't remember how many years it was flying, but it was in the space quite a few years. So since that, we have this experimental mentality at Aalto University that our professors and students are equally enthusiastic about.
Um, one sort of last question on this, but the typical American story for innovators like Bill Gates or Michael Dell, they drop off the university in year 2 or 3. Can you keep your students, to finish to get a degree, or you lose them to innovation in the middle?
I'm hoping that we would keep them until end, to be honest. Obviously, being a university representative, but I think that the most of the research-based science, kind of science-based startups, they need 10, 15 years of research before they are so far that they can actually be spun out of university. So in those cases, we typically have very advanced students being PhD students or even graduates, postdocs that are doing the startups. But we do have some enthusiastic, especially kind of in the Slush organization, some students that are finding a bit dull to go back to studies if they've started up, if they started at the Slush organization for a couple of years and then they find themselves in back in the classroom. So some of those souls we might lose in the process, but we're hoping that they still would finalize their studies.
Well, that's a measurement of the fun of your projects, by the way, when I ask the question. So, but I think we also wanted to talk a little bit more deeper about AI, especially the topic of ethical AI, which I'll pass it to Isabella because she's very much in that field. So,
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm not sure if this is under your radar yet. I believe it's connected to sustainability because the whole thing, it's one leads to another. How to leverage technology ethically for innovations and also for capital allocating. It's a quite hot topic, especially in Europe. Please share your insights on this with us. What's your experience with mentoring teams, and also what do you believe could be critical steps in implement these kind of ethical considerations for technical people, for non-technical professionals in this creative technology space?
Um, well, when I first got to know this, or got connected with this topic was back in 2015, I would say. I was mentoring Helsinki University-based kind of science competition where the first. I don't think that had been researched anywhere in the planet before that, but one of the first kind of researchers that came up with the topic of ethics of intelligent machines. I think that was his research topic at the time, and he joined a innovation competition by Helsinki University called Helsinki Challenge, where they wanted to boost out innovations out of research, and I was being a mentor in that challenge, and I thought it was highly relevant topic when at that time 2015 about I would say there had been the first kind of AI driven things like self-driving cars, the first attempts and so on. And I think he was the first who started thinking, okay, if a car is driving so that in there needs to be a decision who they are going to kill. They can't survive without killing someone. So how to decide who is it going to be? Is it going to be a small child? Is it going to be a mother of that child, or a third person, maybe an older person? How is the decision made? Because they need to be coded into the kind of car when it's a self-driving car. And I that opened my eyes to think there is a lot of kind of maybe thoughts that have been since that developed further. But I still think that when you look at like algorithmic social media today, if you look at like how that is being driven, it's very often misused as well for creating chaos and so on. And and it's very important that we do generate better intelligence around how to manage that ethically. And I also think it's one of the things that in the current era of how people are interacting, it's really important that the more information we have, where the information has been derived from, and how the AI driven businesses, whatever they are, how they are justified, how they are, what's the moral behind the kind of business driving details. I hope this was kind of answering a bit your question.
Oh yes, thank you. Absolutely. Yeah, the ethics in autonomous vehicles, and it has been a topic for years, and probably one of the first ethic topic when this kind of conversation started, and now moving to the artificial intelligence in every kind of software application about bias and discrimination, and with the EU AI Act, and also this global regulation is coming up literally since the ChatGPT. It has been like a major topic across the board and across countries. So definitely look forward to hear how your project moving forward at school with the students in the startup world in sustainability also develop in such a field. Yeah.
And I think it's also one kind of the topic that a lot of people, when they are very technically driven and not so much kind of thinking of maybe the regulatory side, it's very important to also understand that where kind of the who owns the IP rights to, if you've generated things with ChatGPT or other similar AI driven kind of engines, if you will. So it's quite relevant to understand who owns the results, and also people don't maybe think about that too often. But when you're using kind of ChatGPT, for instance, that you are transferring potentially sensitive information over. It is not. It's held by the other kind of side when you're kind of inserting information to generate outcome of through ChatGPT. You do actually give over that information. So there are very tricky questions related to using AI driven kind of applications today, which people don't very often think about.